Did you know there are several forms of marketing, such as print, radio, and TV? But by 2021, marketing leaders will spend 75% of their budget on digital marketing? I also didn't know.
Hi guys, I'm Jerusha Otieno. Welcome to Skillset. Joining me today is Juliet Wangare, a digital marketer and president at Zalika Creatives. Hi Juliet, how are you?
I'm good.
Please tell us a little about yourself.
My name is Juliet Wangare. I am 22 years old. I run a digital marketing agency by the name Zalika Creatives.
Why digital marketing?
Why not?
Fair question.
Yeah. Digital marketing because we're living in a digital era. In fact, I'd like to refer to it as marketing in a digital world rather than digital marketing because it's basically the same concept of marketing, just using digital tools.
What is involved on a day-to-day basis?
Well, my general day starts with a cup of coffee. Like a strong cup of coffee and a lot of reading and basically knowing on what is going on in the industry and yes, just a lot of reading in the morning. And then depending on the day, maybe if I have to meet certain clients or I have to make a pitch, then that is the next order of business. Then generally work starts mid-afternoon where we sit down and then we go through the general analytics of the day and then figure out what it is that we wanted to do today and go for it. But essentially our culture works pretty well at night. So there's much of what we do is done in the evening, yeah.
Okay. When you decided to pursue digital marketing, was it something you always wanted to do or it's something you bumped into?
I bumped into it. I think some of the greatest things in life are the ones that you never saw coming. And I think that is that was digital marketing for me. Because in fact, I was doing my ACCAs and the lecturer had finished the syllabus a bit earlier. So there was a long period before my exams and I basically did not have much to do. So I decided, I actually saw an ad. It was a banner at the student center and it was I love advertising for digital advertising. And so I decided to check it out because I actually wanted to work for Google. So when I saw it was a Google certification, I thought that it would be a good idea. So when I got into it, during the class that encouraged us to think about starting our own agencies or get into digital marketing. But at that point, I knew I was going to work for Google. So my idea was to get the certification, work for Google. So I did get the certification and I applied for Google and I didn't get it. And then I thought, okay, but I still have this skill set and we just done a Google competition. And the clients we used was SBS and I figured we could actually make money out of it. So it was very experimental from the start. And it's basically not something I thought of getting into, and I think my family is still wrapping their minds around it.
Yeah.
My mother still knows I'm going to KPMG.
And to do digital marketing, now that you're a digital marketer, what does one need in terms of education, the amount of time you should put in? What goes into it?
Well, for starters, I think the most essential skill, it's not a skill, requirement is curiosity. For you to do digital marketing, you must be very curious. You must want to know what is going on because it's not set. Digital, there's still so much that we're still learning about digital marketing, so we're moving at the same rate. So, for instance, it would be great to start with a Google AdWords certification, then maybe a Facebook certification. There's also HubSpot. There's a lot of online courses that are offering it because on ground, like in Kenya, it's not pretty new, but in terms of education, there's still much that they are trying to wrap around. So it's actually pretty important for someone to be really curious because they'll learn all of this from the internet. The internet is far ahead of our education system.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've gone to study digital skills. You wanted to work for Google. That didn't work. You end up doing on your own. Zalika Creative comes up, and now you're an employer. You're no longer just a digital marketer. What do you look for your in your digital marketers? Hard skills, soft skills. What do you look for?
Hard skills, well, AdWords certification is one of the most important metrics for me. That's what I look for because it's the most basic. Like, if you've understood how AdWords works, then it's going to be easy for me to tell you, okay, now do Facebook, then do something else. That's the most basic thing that I look for. Also, now that I am trying to diversify the skill set, I'm also looking into CIM and probably some IT skill as well, but that's in terms of hard skill. Soft skill, and a university graduate, definitely, that's very important. In terms of soft skills, it's just, I think I look for people skills because you're doing marketing, so you need to be able to know how people work, how they respond to certain things. I generally really appreciate someone who can sell an idea to me or tell a story. I like storytellers because then they fit very well into our culture. And then generally I also look for a cultural fit. Like, because we're a startup, it's very important for the people that I'm looking into to be able to fit very well within our culture. And for us right now, since we're a really young company, headed by very young people, it's, really looking for people who can work with that. But obviously, over time, I'm going to look for people who are a bit more older and mature to actually tell us this is how things work,
Okay. And employers have been talking of a skills gap between what the graduates have and what the employer needs. Have you noticed that gap?
Yes, definitely. I think the first few days of work are like learning to draw on a canvas. It's like, okay, so this is what you know. I will need you to forget that for a minute and get into something else. Because even in terms of AdWords certification, I could say that, for instance, my current interns haven't practiced anything to do with AdWords. So I tell you, okay, good. Now that you have that, here, start over with this. There's a gap because essentially with digital marketing, it's still very new to a lot of people. And even in terms of clients, there's still much that is still technical for them. So we have to start from the basics. And yes, there is a gap, and the gap is basically a knowledge gap. So there is what you know and how to fit it into what the client needs.
Yes.
Because you might know so much, but there's very little that they require out of you. Or you'll go for a meeting and you're telling them what AdWords will do, but they don't know what AdWords is. So you have to figure out, this is basically me telling you I can put you on the first search. Like you're going to be first on the search engine. That's it. Like basically learning how to basically translate it to make that a reality. It's very theoretical what people know of digital marketing, but in terms of application, it needs a variety of skill sets to apply it.
As a digital marketer, one of the soft skills you might need is an exceptional ability to persuade. You will need to persuade your bosses to run campaigns, run experiments, and to spend on digital marketing, even on hard financial and economic times.
Now that we know there's a skills gap, what can a graduate do to try and bridge that?
I would advise them to try with what they have. For instance, if you make accessories, right? Or if you can buy them from a local vendor or something, try sell them online. Try do something. Try make it practical. Because I know, for instance, with maybe Google certification, you go through the theory, but you do not really apply it. You're not even given credit to actually practice setting up the ad. So try it by yourself. Or take part in a competition that gives you money to let you try, for instance, putting up ads. Try selling that old washing machine in your house online. Tell me that you sell clothes. Try it. I think it's really important for people to see how it works, so that when you're handling a client, you'll know that, wait, I've tried this, but this doesn't work, because it's very practical. You have to keep trying it. And also, because it changes very fast, you have to know that, wait, this worked 3 months ago, but it's not going to work because Facebook has changed the algorithm, or because people are looking at Insta stories more than they're looking at the feed. So we need to concentrate on that. There's a lot of practice, and maybe another skill that I really look for is how they manage their social media or their digital marketing. Do you have a website? Do you have a blog? How is your Instagram? Because essentially that is how you're going to run clients' work.
Okay. Is there any particular personality that is better suited to being a digital marketer, or can anyone do it?
I think anyone can do it. I don't think there is a set personality, because with digital marketing, there's actually pretty much. There's people who are involved with content creation, there's digital strategy. So maybe for digital strategy and consulting, you need to be able to be confident and maybe an expert negotiator to tell them, I think this would work for you, and this is what you need to do in terms of personality. But then again, you could be the person doing the analytics. That means you could be as introverted as you want to. You could be a night owl. It doesn't really require you to be out there. Or you could be the content creator, and maybe you create content at really weird hours of the night, or when you're lazy during the day. There isn't a set personality, which I think is great, because then that means it can encompass an entire variety of people.
So guys, anyone can do digital marketing. Go for it if you're really interested in it. On to the next part now. To remain employable as a digital marketer, what should you be looking for?
To remain employable, first of all, I think there's it's not something that people need to be really worried about whether they're going to remain employable, because it's an opportunity that is just it's still on its baby phase. So you're probably not going to lose your job as a digital marketer, because they do not know what they're doing. So they need you to know what you're doing.
Yes.
But I'd advise people to look into data, because we have a problem with data. Even in digital marketing, we get all this data based on consumer behavior or patterns, and people cannot analyze that. So I think there's a great opportunity for data analysts in digital media, in digital marketing, and there's data analytics, there is videographers. There's a great opportunity for videographers, especially because of how much video we are consuming. So content is moving towards the video side. So if you're an animator, an illustrator, then there's more opportunity for you. Or if you're involved in anything visual, that's a really great opportunity for you to capitalize on that skill. But also there's still an opportunity for copywriters. Like in terms of digital marketing, it's just looking at what you're able to do and figuring out how you can make that work on the internet. Because it's still fairly new, at least in Africa, or at least the consumption rate is still fairly new. You should be able to make your mark, become an expert, become a thought leader. The market is not crowded. It's like there is room for us all. Yeah.
So the market is not crowded. I'm thinking it shouldn't be that hard for me to land a job, right?
Well, now that's interesting. Maybe because digital marketing is still relatively new, a lot of companies have not realized that they need it as a rule. So it might not be a thing of landing a job. It probably involves a lot of pitching or suggesting or negotiating getting the job, because people are still trying to figure out, okay, so what can I do with this digital marketing? So maybe it's not something that has reserved job titles, people are still getting digital managers, account managers, we're getting, we'll see a lot of companies advertising for that, Java was advertising for a digital manager or account manager, which still means it's still pretty new. So you might not get that job description on LinkedIn, we're looking for a digital marketer, but if you pitch to them, you can find your way through it. So I think digital marketing is still in its relatively create job stages, rather than acquire the job.
I like the fact that you brought up employers taking this up.
Yeah.
Why would anyone pay attention to this, especially in 2017? Well,
if not now, when? if an enterprise, if a business, if an organization is not concerned about the digital aspects of their business or how they can get involved in a digital space, then I'd say they're oblivious to what is happening in the world, and they run the risk of being obsolete. It's like asking, okay, so why would Nokia get into the smartphone, Android, or, look at them now, they have to get it. So you have to ask yourself whether you want to be on the front end of figuring out what these new technologies can offer to your business, or you want to be that business that's forced to acquire the technologies over time when you've suffered losses and, close to bankruptcy. I think it's important because digital marketing, or just the internet in general, is changing the way we do business. So for any business owner, that is something that you need to be concerned about, because it means then maybe the way we do this old business model would need to be shaped or transformed to work in a digital world. For instance, with retail, if you realize that the younger demographic is buying clothes online from Instagram shops that they've never seen, like they've never set foot in, but it's working for them, what does this mean for a retailer? It means that these people's purchasing power, the younger generation is going to get to a point where they will only probably be getting their clothes online. And what does that mean for someone with a store who you have no idea where it is? It means you're not really actualizing the power of the internet to give you independence of location. You could be based in Mombasa, but you're delivering to Nairobi. And just, it means for businesses that are not adopting it, they are oblivious of change or maybe the impact that could have. And I think they should really prioritize digital marketing.
Okay. So I've done digital marketing. What sort of work environment am I looking at? What are some of the challenges? What are some of the good things about it?
Okay, well, first of all, it depends on where you get to apply your digital marketing. For instance, for now, it would pretty much mean working at an agency, right?
Yeah.
Or working, let me give an example of an agency, because that is where I work at and that is what I have in mind. It's very unconventional. It's not, if you're not up for 8 to 5, consider digital marketing, because maybe that's it for you. Or an agency, working at an agency. The culture is pretty, not really relaxed, but it's a creative space. So, with creativity, it's very difficult to rush creativity.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that you're not, that certain times that you will be rushed, like in terms of deadlines or something. There are nights when you'd work overnight, and this is something that works for us. We could be working on a Sunday evening for a presentation on Monday. So you have to be very, not resilient, flexible in a sense. There could be days when you're just at the office watching YouTube videos, and then the next day, you have to do analytics, you have to do everything. So it's not pretty set because there's no routine to it, because there's much discovery. There's a lot of time that falls under research and presentation than actual work that is routine-based or timesheets, or that's not what you get in terms of the culture and agency.
So as you've heard, guys, if you're not the 8 to 5 kind of person and you like research or you're sort of interested in that, then digital marketing would be a good fit for you. Now we'll get her last thoughts on any thoughts moving forward for digital marketers.
Well, for one, I'd like to invite organizations or businesses or heads of companies to consider young people. This is especially in digital marketing because it's not a new concept to me. Like, my knowledge of Google and the internet is fairly broader than an older demographic.
Yeah.
So maybe we should diversify in terms of, like, for instance, marketing teams or even just organizational heads should be able to open the space for young people to understand that maybe this is something they understand better than we do, and how can we work together. And that necessarily, that could mean not just encouraging the idea, you have a good idea, but figuring out how can we make this idea into a reality, because a lot of them would look down on it, maybe because they're considering, okay, yeah, but what do you know? I have worked in marketing for 30 years.
Yeah.
Definitely you have, and you have done a great job, but marketing is really changing. Like, if the entire space is changing, maybe you should consider what this 22-year-old has to say, this 24-year-old has to say, and figure a way to diversify into that. Another thing that I would recommend is not to shy off technology. At first, a lot of companies generally try to avoid any change, but I think they should welcome the change that the internet brings. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time, Juliet. This has been very enlightening.
Our career tip for today focuses on getting your CV noticed by recruiters and employers. When writing, you'll need to 1. Keep it simple. 2. Customize it for every application you make. 3. Avoid typos. And lastly, send it in PDF format.
Digital marketing is the latest trend in the marketing sector. Over the next 5 years, marketers are expected to invest in quality over quantity. By 2024, the average employment rate for this industry is expected to grow by 9%. You can start your career in this from the certificate level and progress from there. Some of the career paths you can take include as a digital marketing director, digital marketing strategist, or a digital media specialist. Similar jobs to digital marketing include as an SEO manager, social media strategist, social media specialist, social media consultant, social media manager, or as a social media analyst. Thank you for watching the show, guys. See you next time.